Are you a light worker? So before we dive into this question, can I support myself and my family financially with a spiritually based career, which some of you might be thinking? And by the way, the short answer is absolutely yes. We're going to cover some background topics to kind of find your purpose, and we might even go into some of the business decisions or things that you might have to think about for different professions as a light worker. What are light worker professions? Well, light worker professions might be somebody like a massage therapist, a healer, a doctor of integrative medicine that has his own practice, even nurses, if you do some kind of nursing, anything really that is a healer, or you can be a channeler, a medium, a psychic, a tarot reader, a rune reader. You can be reading the bones. You can be doing oracle readings of divination using divination tools. You can be using herbs or products that kind of help different people like to live better, healthier lives. So all of those are what I would call some of there are many more, of course, but there's some of the main light worker professions. So first, I believe that each person has a personal mission in life, something that you agree to learn during this lifetime. It could be patience, forgiveness, compassion, balance, self-care, could be integrity, and so forth. So everyone is working on a soul growth lesson. And also there's something called your life project. So to give you an example, my life project, even though it kind of took me a little while and to figure it out, I have always been really good at being a teacher or a mentor. And but I feel like I wanted to do something more. I like to find answers to questions. So I did my numerology reading. I did the divination triangle, with the Pythagoras triangle, the divine triangle, and the answer that came out was design spirituality. And so I kept thinking, I was like, oh, well, I'm very good with websites. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm an engineer, software engineer also. So, but design is spirituality. How can I join my passions of being a teacher and a trainer, with being really good at doing the visuals and design stuff and it's hard because sometimes what you're good at, that doesn't really pay the bills, right? So, um, so then I kind of envision a school in which the topics that are interested in, the Hermetic sciences that are interested to me, that I want to learn more about, that I can do that and, put that out there, that for free. And so people will take those classes, and it wasn't necessarily to make a profit, but it was to make sure that people learn about these topics, because it seems to me that nowadays a lot of the people are suffering from, mostly like physical and psychological illnesses. And there's a lack of identity in people, women and men, and there's a new generation that, come already in depth, that you can see that they have no purpose. They're kind of like floating by, not really knowing. A lot of them know what they want to do. Most of them don't know what they want to do. They know they don't want to do what their parents did. They're learning how to do new things, and technology is also dehumanizing a lot of the what they will call the healing professions, because being a healer obviously is also about touch and being present in the moment, being there to help somebody. um, is the human contact, right? And so that was my vision. So my life project is to bring the Hermetic sciences to everywhere globally, all over the world. And it's not as important, for me to make money, but if it does help somebody, and I think it does help somebody. I mean, I receive multiple emails and things about people that learn things, that not only they learn about history and they learn about themselves, but also learning about, if they're depressed. Obviously, if you need to go to psychologists and have medical or allopathic medicine does. I'm not disputing that. What I'm saying is a lot of people also need the human touch, or they need somebody that tells them, hey, you're not the only one going through this. So in addition to your life project, like my life project, you can have personal missions. Some individuals agree to take on global missions, and I consider mine to be a global mission, which involve helping people, animals. You can be helping the environment or any other cause other than themselves. So not everyone has a global mission, and that doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. Some people might have a global mission inside their community, in which they help the church, or they help, I was a guardian ad litem also here in Hillsborough County, Tampa, for a while. That is a very worthy mission. So some people might be local, doing things, community things for children. Some people on earth are only living for their own personal growth. And those who have global missions are known as light workers. So this is the name that I'm using that encompasses similar terms. So if you're a light worker, you might be referred to also as an indigo, a crystal, or an earth angel, or an earth child. So you're a light worker if you feel compelled to help others and deeply care about the world. You attract people who need help, and you're sensitive to the needs of those around you. Some people call that empathetic, right? Empaths. In fact, you sometimes feel that if you're a bit too sensitive as you absorb energies from others' moods. But don't worry, we'll discuss shielding in a little bit and other energy protection methods later. So, as a light worker, you'll always feel a sense of purpose, as if there's something important that you're destined to do in this lifetime. And you might not know what this destiny entails, but you can feel it. So you should have this feeling of humanity. All light workers do. Now, there's also a sense of time urgency associated with this. Like an alarm clock ringing in the pit of your gut, urging you to go, 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 and make a positive difference in the world. Just to give you an example, that happens to me right now constantly. As I'm creating these courses in Udemy, and also creating these and my university that I'm creating online, because what I wanted to do is I wanted to do a university that has all these courses, and that people can get degrees and certificates that are actually digital certificates that are accredited, so that people can have this as a field, and we can start putting this more out there, and stop considering some of these which is, it's kind of strange. People think of some of these things are pseudosciences, but really these are the beginning of what we call sciences came from. Alchemy, for example, is the mother of chemistry, or organic chemistry. Yet nobody has any problems in taking organic chemistry and doesn't think anything of it. Universities charge an arm and a leg to take an organic chemistry class, which is a very difficult class. I took it myself. So just to give you an example, or for example, mathematics. Numerology and advanced numerology is geometry and mathematics. Pythagoras was the one that came out with it. So what I'm trying to say is all of these, there is a time urgency. So for me, my time urgency at this moment is to get all the more courses that I can to put out there, so people can get drawn into the hermetic sciences. So if you know somebody that's interested in this, by all means, share your notes of this course, or take them to Udemy to get this course. There's always this global urgency, and you feel like you have to make a positive difference in the world if you're a light worker. These feelings are universal among light workers. So the great news is that as a light worker, you've been making a positive difference your entire life. You radiate healing energy that soothes others and brings peace wherever you go. That's because your main goal purpose is to love, which is something you do naturally. You care about people and you wish that everyone could be happy, healthy, and well provided for. So you are a giver. Now, I wanted to make a note here. Empaths tend to attract into the relationships very toxic people. Just because we're always trying to help, you're going to attract the opposite. And that can be detrimental to your work and your energy, especially as a female, if you have a very strong male negative dark energy. So think about that if you're a female. The great news is that as a light worker, like I said, you'll be making this positive difference. So the form that your mission takes is secondary as long as you extend divine love. In other words, when you think about a career as a spiritual teacher or healer, the type of work that you do isn't really important. Whether you teach or practice Reiki or angel therapy or mediumship, or you're a doctor of integrative medicine, or you're a massage therapist or a nurse, if it's done from a place of loving service, everything else is details. So with that in mind, there's a practical consideration when deciding on teaching or healing modality. You're forming a long-term relationship with your chosen field, so please make sure it's an area that truly excites and interests you. It's not smart to select one just because you've seen another person gain material success by that venue. I couldn't agree with that more. So obviously we all want to pay our bills. We live in a physical reality, and when bills need to get paid, you need to be able to provide for your children, and the physicality of things can get you. But you also need to be able to be passionate about something, because when you're passionate about something, at least from my experience, you're going to push forward more and advance more. um, People are gonna see you. Like, so just to give you an example, um, a few years back, I was looking for a job, and I kept looking for a job, and nobody was calling me, and I had been in teaching for a long time, and I was struggling really bad with my bills, with my physical reality of being able to provide for my children. And then I decided to start a YouTube channel with my son, who's 9 years old. And we were just doing it for fun, just uploading videos. And then I thought, oh, I got a lot of, different PowerPoints and videos that I can upload in Hermetic Sciences. And so I started uploading that as fun. And what you know, literally within the week, somebody called me and said, I've seen your YouTube channel, and we like for you to produce some content for our school. So what I'm saying is, sometimes when you let things go, that's when the things come to you. And you probably have heard about the law of attraction. But also, when you tend to do things for no profit, when you try to do things for helping others, you're going to gain more um, than if you're trying to do things for profit. Because there's only so long that you can work making profit at something when there's no passion behind it. You're going to be find out eventually. So whatever type of healing or teaching you choose, please be certain that you love it. I watch light workers create career goals with their heads, using business plans and projections, only to meet with one obstacle after another, because their hearts weren't in the work. And while the planning and projecting can be helpful and prudent to starting points for new business ventures, make sure that you're leading with your heart. In spirituality-based careers, your feelings and intuition are your roadmap. Your head is second in charge, and as the employee of your heart. So, what topic, even if it's illogical, really excites you? So you need to ask your higher self. You need to ask your higher self. You have to have definitely faith and confidence. You dream of having a full-time career as a spiritual teacher or as a healer, and this is for you your dream. It's a sign. So if you continually imagine yourself having a meaningful career that supports you and your family, financially, emotionally, and spiritually, then this is a sign that your life purpose involves this type of work. And yet, it's not enough to dream. Action is required. However, this is not as simple, isn't it? Otherwise, you'll already be on your way. Light workers are by definition sensitive. They're receptive to the energies in any room they walk into. They're attuned to other people's moods and feelings, and to environmental factors such as chemicals, pollution, or noise. They are conscious of the presence of angels, but they're also sensitive to other people's opinions. This sensitivity can be also a gift and a life-saving instinct. You see, your overall personality remains fairly constant through your lifetimes. Once a light worker, you're always a light worker. You might have been a spiritual teacher or a healer many, many times before in other lives. You might have been a priest or priestess or a temple keeper, a monk or a nun, an alchemist, a sorcerer, sorceress, a seer or scribe, an astronomer, or other form of esoteric healer and teacher. Yet, although there might have been many light workers on this planet, they were not always treated kindly. So, history, as you know, is rife with tales of witch trials and inquisitions during Earth's dark ages. And it has been historically common for people, governments, and churches to blame light workers for plagues, bankrupt years, and other calamities. So stay alive and avoid punishment. Light workers have developed an ultra sensitivity to other people's approval or disapproval. Plus, let's face it, we want to keep everybody happy. Now I can tell you that when I started my I guess my path as a hypnotherapist, I met with huge amounts of resistance. There were members of my family that even told me, I can't believe you're doing this. You're a physicist, and why this is like, I even got asked by people, do you believe in God? And my response to that was, when you go to the doctor to treat you because, I don't know, you had a fall or you have a cold, do you ask the doctor if they believe in God? Well, a hypnotherapist is just the same than a doctor. We are there to help with these regulations of the mind in the same way. So you need to focus on what you want. You need to think that you're not crazy, you're not alone. You need to think that this is what God intended you for you to do. And you have to learn as a light healer to let go of people's approval of you. So we discussed how to develop healthy assertiveness and boundaries later, but for now, it's important to recognize your natural tendencies that some might call people pleasing, but which I see as an instinctive survival skill combined with the sensitivity that underlies psychic abilities. These qualities also arise when you tease about your light worker characteristics. For example, I used to work as a teacher and I've been called crystal lady, weird, flaky, odd. Oh gosh, I wish I would have the list here, but you get my meaning. Too sensitive, or worse. Then you have experienced mild forms of ostracizing that light workers have historically undergone. You might even, and I can tell that for myself, I started my hypnotherapy practice and I was doing really well. And then I led somebody in my family to convince me to close down my practice, even though I have started. It was the first 2 or 3 months and I already have clients coming in, making quite a good income about it. But I didn't want that person to be unhappy, so I closed down my practice. That was a mistake. So don't do like me. Light workers have historically undergone all of these kind of isolations. So think of a wizard living alone in the woods, and you kind of get the picture. So there's something that if you want to follow one of these light worker professions, you really need to think, if you're going to maintain your focus. So yet modern society isolating isn't very practical. Most people have to work with others out of necessity and emotional need. If you find interacting with your peers difficult, then you likely socializing and working in harsh environments. Once you make the switch to a spiritually based career, you'll find welcome relief as you become surrounded by other sensitive and gentle people. So that's why I recommend that if you want to get started on your journey, that you went to metaphysical stores, free markets in which you can maybe meet people that are in the same wave that you are, maybe lectures or conferences, and that way you can have a group of support. In the next video, we're going to talk about how to come out of the spiritual closet. I'll see you soon.